Breakfast Central, this midweek edition. It's Wednesday already, and was so many things are happening in our dear country, Nigeria. This is Breakfast Central. We bring you the latest news. We bring you insightful discussions and everything in between. I am Benga Aborowa.
And I am Olive Emodi. You're welcome to Breakfast Central. I thought I'll be starting the show with good news, telling you of how Nigeria has done absolutely well at the games yesterday. Unfortunately, there's a draw, and this has set us back in our journey to the World Cup. Nwebonyi was being trolled, you know, on Twitter. I did see a number of people talking about how he couldn't really hold.
Considering the goal in the 98 minutes, is one of the most painful things that could happen to you.
It was painful, especially because they had a good start. The first 10 minutes was so good, you know. It just felt like at the end of the day, another thing that he was criticized was his demeanor, the way he's always smiling, or the way they say he's very cocky and feels too confident on the pitch, especially when they've scored a goal. So, or when he's been able to, he's not conceded any goals yet, and the Super Eagles have scored a goal. Nigeria was very, very excited about the game, pre the game, but post the game, unfortunately, they beat us in our own home in Uyo. There are other people who have also gone to troll Peter Obi, because Peter Obi was there, and they said, why is it that when you are coming for the game is when this is happening? Please, people should leave Peter Obi. He's there to support Nigeria.
Mathematically, we could still qualify, and the South Africans have an infringement. They fielded an ineligible player that was going to be on suspension. So we're waiting for CAF to take punitive measures, hopefully point deductions, and see what happens. But the head of CAF is South African, so...
You see it's going to be a tough call. Exactly. We really should have won yesterday's game. But no use crying over spilled milk. Let's bring you up to speed with conversations that have happened in the past 24 hours. Now, 24 hours is too long. Yesterday, the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee, they sat to oversee the matter concerning and the allegations leveled by Senator Natasha Akpabio against Senator Akpabio. Now, we then got into a fighting match. I wouldn't call it a fighting match, an exchange was a verbal exchange. We saw here where Senator Nwebonyi, Senator Nwebonyi, the senatorial district representative of Ebonyi North, he was hurling insults at Obi Ezekwesili. Now, what you would see there is the conversation, how it went, which we'll play to you shortly, what caused it, what led to it, who triggered who, and was the reaction commensurate to the triggering word? You be the judge. Let's take a look. Video to watch, very difficult video to watch indeed, very embarrassing. The senators are referred to as distinguished senators, and the manner in which that conversation was carried was not in any way distinguished. Now, what led to this is another conversation to look at. They both have granted interviews, and much later will be joined by Obi Ezekwesili herself to share with us, you know, her side of the story and, you know, what the implications of this might be and what Nigerians should look forward to going forward from here. But the whole of the crux of the matter was because they did raise objections. She was on the side of Senator Natasha Akpabio serving as a witness, and they raised objections as to the fact that they think that the Senate and the Ethics Hearing Committee was biased, basically because of the statement made by the chairman. Remember at the time when he said that her application was dead on arrival, so they said they were biased. And there are some other conversations that were brought up, although the defendants, in this case, the Ethics Committee, then said that the matter was sub judice because there's already a case in court. And then the question is, if it's sub judice, what then was the point of bringing these people together to, quote unquote, give chance for fair hearing?
I mean, what we witnessed yesterday is very sad. Like you said, they're called distinguished senators, honorables, and society looks up to them. And to see one of the members, one of the 109 members of the Senate acting that way leaves a lot to be desired.
I mean, very strong words.
Even if you're provoked, there's a certain level of courage and demeanor that is expected of you. And then looking at the person is insulting. This is someone that has achieved a lot in Nigeria, and personally for herself, for him to go that low and use gutter language. You shouldn't even talk to your subordinate in the office like that, let alone on national television.
You know what is baffling? It's the fact that, you know, when you're aware, it's one thing if you're not aware that the media, the media is seeing you. If you are aware that there are newsmen and that the media, Nigerians are watching this, and you're still confident enough to be able to say the kind of things that you said, the words that you used, knowing that the media was there, I shudder to think about what can or could have been said if there were no cameras. You know, being able to use such strong words.
What he'll tell his staff.
You know, he was saying things about very derogatory statements, really, saying, you know, this is why I cannot submit to a man. Like, so many inappropriate conversations there. She's not your wife. She's not there to submit to you. It was really uncalled for. Again, mirrors the conversations women in politics would always bring up, and the background and the biases that women in politics have to face when they speak up for themselves. Anyway, we certainly have a poll that we're going to be putting up on our screen. I would like you to be a part of this poll, to share your thoughts. I will have our production team now share the poll on the screen. So please go on our Twitter, our X handle, and vote. Was Senator Nwebonyi's verbal abuse of former Minister Ezekwesili justified? And of course, the background would be because they said she triggered him by telling him to shut up. So your answer is yes, no, indifferent. So far, we have 14.8% who say yes, it was justified. 4.2% say they're indifferent, and 81% so far say no, it wasn't justified. We'll be taking more reports from this before we wrap up the conversation today. But head to our X account at News Central TV to lend you or to put your own vote as well, to let us know what side of the divide you're on. But now let's move on to other stories.
Now, in our second wake-up conversation this morning, former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, in an interview, did criticize the current Senate President, Mr. Godswill Akpabio, saying he was corrupt and he has a culture of disrespecting women. Let's take a listen.
And he was corrupt. Not only he was corrupt, but he was also in the habit of abusing, women. I was not surprised because I know the leadership is corrupt. I have no apologies about that. And they could do anything. And the Senate President is known actually to be having those type of character.
And that there is an excerpt from an interview in the show Untold Stories with Adesuwa. The full interview will be dropping out. We definitely will look forward to seeing that. But then he's granted this interview, said that Akpabio is known for abusing women. The question now is, what next? What will be done to him? Will the same treatment that has been meted to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the same resistance that she's gotten from Senate, will she get that same resistance?
Will
he get that same resistance?
Aides come out and say, he's fond of wearing agbada and this and that, the sort of statements we heard. And one thing I noticed from that, from the excerpts, is he never used the word alleged. He was very forthright and confident in the things he was saying. So is he very sure? Does he have evidence?
Will Senator Godswill
Akpabio's suit from
Senator Godswill Akpabio's wife.
Will exactly, like you said, will Senator Godswill Akpabio's wife respond to this? Because these are very weighty allegations against the number 3 citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the person of Senator Godswill Akpabio. Or would they just overlook it because, it's big man to big man?
You know what they might end up, we don't know how it's going to turn out. They might just make it look like, it's political maneuvering, it's political tactics, everybody goes. So at the end of the day, they might not make an issue about
other mortals cannot use that statement.
No, how dare you?
Without allegedly.
How dare you say such statements? But we look forward to seeing the full interview and then see what the next steps from Senator Godswill Akpabio and his team and the Senate, what they'll make of it. And we do hope in this case, the conversation again will be, does he have strong proof? Just like they've been saying about Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, does she have proof? These are the kind of conversations. Will he get the pushback that she's gotten as well? And I'm still speaking about Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Her journey has not been one without a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenges, right from when she was running for the current position as a senator representing her state. And we saw the challenges she had to go through, the roads being broken leading up to her polling unit. At the end of the day, she won with 54,074 votes.
And then when she came to the Senate itself, still battled powers and principalities. And the battle is not over. But the latest, Olive, is that INEC said that the method of gathering signatures for recall was faulty. So it seems she's won this battle. You don't think it's over?
Well, we don't know if it's over. As they said, it's not, they don't have information. If this constituents, this over 200,000 constituents who are not available to vote at the elections, but were available to vote for her recall, will then maybe come together again and put together the details, and INEC can clearly verify the numbers and the details. I mean, if they really believe so strongly, you could see their leader, Honorable Charity, speaking so passionately about why Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has not represented them and how she's been careless
and
to ensure that the
game is the game.
That's actually how I plan to wrap it up. How she's ensured that the team, the state is not adequately represented because of her ego and how her emotions, she allowed logic trump emotions. Those were very strong statements coming from a very powerful person. So maybe, just maybe, they will have that same energy to go through this again in another 1 week, gather the whole over 200,000 votes and get them to put their addresses and their phone numbers. And then INEC will do an independent verification where representatives from Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's team and representatives from the opposition will all be there with the media as they are verifying every single vote. But until then, the game is the game.
The game is the game. I saw something on social media. There's always a trust deficit between government institutions and the citizens. And people were quite surprised that INEC was forthright in this and staying on the straight and narrow path, saying, this exercise was fraudulent, it can't go on, blah, blah, blah. And people were surprised that, wow, so something good can come out of INEC. Can anything good come out of Bethlehem?
Well, Jesus did. But we see what the true position is, and INEC has been in the spotlight. It feels like the responsibility has been shifting from organization or institution to institution. When from the Senate, they expected from the floor of the House the responsibility to maybe uphold what some might see as justice, then shifted to the Ethics Committee. Right now, INEC has a huge role to play in this, but we're just going to continue to see how this plays out. But remember that your voice also counts in conversations like this, which is why we engage with you at News Central TV. And when we open the phone lines, we give you a chance to call in and share your thoughts on any of the stories we're looking at. Let's share with you our top stories this morning on Breakfast Central.